In the quiet valleys beneath Assisi's ancient walls, where olive trees whisper like prayers, the memory of a forgotten saint still lingers in the wind. Long before Saint Francis walked barefoot through these streets, long before Clare embraced holy poverty, Assisi had another protector, a bishop, a preacher, and its first martyr, Saint Rufinus. In the early centuries of Christianity, when the Church lived in the shadow of Roman power and persecution, a missionary arrived in this Umbrian city. His name was Rufinus. His courage and sacrifice would plant the first seeds of faith in a land destined to produce great saints. Tradition places his ministry in the 3rd century, during the era of Roman persecutions, possibly under Emperor Decius, 249 to 251 AD, or Diocletian, 284 to 305 AD, when Christians were hunted for refusing to worship the Roman gods. According to ancient tradition, Rufinus came from the east, possibly from Anatolia. He brought with him not wealth or status, but the gospel of Christ. Assisi at the time was a Roman town shaped by pagan temples and imperial loyalty. Christianity was unknown to most of its citizens. Rufinus began quietly preaching, teaching, and gathering small communities of believers in private homes. These early Christians prayed in secret, strengthened by the courage of their bishop. His mission was simple yet profound: to make Christ known in a city that had never heard his name. Rufinus became the first bishop of Assisi. In a place where Christian faith was still fragile, he baptized converts, instructed catechumens, and guided his flock with pastoral care. Though historical records from this early period are limited, as is common with many 3rd century martyrs, the enduring devotion of the local church testifies to the depth of his influence. The foundation he laid would endure for centuries. The Christian roots he planted would one day blossom in the lives of Saint Francis, Saint Clare, and, in our own time, Blessed Carlo Acutis, all children of the same city first evangelized by Rufinus. Rufinus' growing influence eventually drew the attention of Roman authorities. According to tradition, the proconsul Aspasius ordered his arrest. He was tortured for refusing to renounce Christ, yet he remained steadfast. In a final act of cruelty, a heavy stone was tied around his neck, and he was thrown into the Chiasso River. Beneath its waters, the first bishop of Assisi surrendered his life for the gospel. His death, believed to have occurred in the 3rd century, was not the end of his mission. It became the seed of faith for the city. The Christians of Assisi recovered his body and honored him as their first martyr, the cornerstone of their church. Rufinus was first buried near the site of his martyrdom. Over the centuries, as Christianity flourished, his relics were translated several times. By the 11th century, a grand cathedral was built in his honor, the Cathedral of San Rufino, completed in the 12th century in Romanesque style. It still stands in Assisi today. Beneath the cathedral rests a Roman sarcophagus, carved with ancient mythological imagery, now holding the remains of the Christian martyr who transformed the city's spiritual destiny. Pilgrims continue to descend into the crypt, lighting candles and offering prayers before the relics of their patron. Saint Rufinus remains the patron saint of Assisi. Each year, the city celebrates the Palio of San Rufino, a historic crossbow tournament among the 3 medieval districts, honoring the courage and memory of its first bishop. More than a historical figure, Rufinus represents the bridge between persecution and holiness, between hidden faith and flourishing sanctity. Without the silent witness of Rufinus, the Assisi of Francis and Clare might never have existed. The story of Saint Rufinus reminds us that faith often begins in obscurity and grows through adversity. He did not see the future saints his sacrifice would help inspire. He did not witness the basilicas or the pilgrims. Yet his hidden fidelity shaped generations. Like gold refined by fire, the Christian community of Assisi was strengthened through suffering. The waters that claimed his life became the soil in which holiness would grow. Today, pilgrims ascend the hill to the Cathedral of San Rufino. They walk the same streets once trodden by Francis and Clare, and by the bishop who came before them. Saint Rufinus teaches us that courage, faith, and sacrifice can shape not only individual lives, but entire communities. May we, like Saint Rufinus, remain faithful even when the waters rise, trusting that every sacrifice offered for Christ becomes a seed of holiness for generations to come.